Welcome, 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 you dedicated young ladies who are here on a Sunday for 2 hours because you want to pass that BGCSE language arts with a C and above. All right, I'm your facilitator, Mrs. Woodside. And I wanted to share with you my favorite verse, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. And we know that we create our plans and God has his plans for us. And I want to encourage you all to ensure that as you're doing today, you take your steps toward that plan, whether that plan is getting the BGCSE, getting the high school diploma, going, using what you have to go to college, whatever your plan is, continue to work toward the plan that God has for you in all that you do. Now, so what we're going to do, a little introduction. I want to give you some information about myself. My name is Glendina Woodside. I have been an English language arts teacher from 2005. I have been an English language arts marker from 2005. And I have a bachelor's in education, a master's in exceptional education. And the reason I give you that information, students, is because I want you to trust me, okay? I want you to trust that based on studies that have shown when you tell people your experience, your degrees, they will listen to you. And I want you to listen to me, grade 12, grade 11, some of you grade 10 who are taking this exam, all right? Take my advice. I'm here to assist you. And our little icebreaker is just, I want you to put in the chat an emoji telling me how you're feeling about the BGCSE language right now. What's your feeling about the BGCSE language exam at this point in the process? Oh, Miss Moss is happy. She is ready. Aaliyah is still on the fence. That one eyebrow up, one eyebrow down. Some confusion, that's fine. Oh my goodness, Devano Balfour is sure he's going to get that A. Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much for sharing with me. And my next point I'd like to make, please note. What I am sharing with you is my opinions, my strategies that I've used as a teacher. I am not here to replace your teacher, okay? Your teachers are excellent teachers. I probably worked with some or most of them. They know exactly what they are doing. So all my only role today and for the other sessions is just to give you some tips, to give you some more practice, to present something maybe in a different way, to make things click in your brain, connect to what your teacher already taught you, okay? So I'm not here to replace your teacher. I'm not here to say I am right, your teacher's wrong. I am just here to support what your teacher's been teaching you and give you the opportunity to practice those same skills. All right, so is that clear with everyone? I don't want any hard feelings or anything like that. You may see things done differently, and that's fine. Okay, I'm going to turn off my camera now because it seems to be lagging on my part. Okay, so when we're looking at the BGCSE examination, there are certain skills that are going to be assessed across the 4 papers. And please note, these skills are listed verbatim from Making the Grade by Pamela Moutry. That book is my assistant teacher. That is my BGCSE Bible. That has all of the information that I need to assist my students in passing the exam. Okay, so that's the book there, Making the Grade. I'm not gatekeeping. If you don't have it, you can get it. And it will be a great help for you as you prepare for the national examinations. So the skills that we look at are communication. You communicate based on your experiences, what you observe, your research, anything you read, any other sources. The next skill is organizing and presenting. And these are facts, ideas, opinions. They must be clear, concise, adequate. Next, we see the skill assessed is communicating effectively, appropriately, what is imagined and what is felt. Okay, I see a question. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Morris. Next, your ability to understand and use a wide range of vocabulary, apt vocabulary, specific vocabulary. To be able to understand what is implied, what is directly stated based on what you read or what you hear. You have to be able to evaluate information according to directions that are specifically given, and to use standard English that is grammatically correct, obeying the rules of punctuation and spelling, okay? So as we're looking across the 4 papers, this is what we are marking for, and this is what you have been practicing from kindergarten. Language arts skills do not change. They are the same skills, and we just build and build, adding more layers and more complexity. So that adding more layers and complexity. So at each level, so by the time as you reach grade 12, you're at that BGCSE level at a certain level of complexity in regard to what you can do. And you will reveal that on the exam. So the BGCSE language arts papers, my few students who are here, I'm certain you already know something about these papers. Can you put in the chat anything that you know about the papers? Anything that you know about BGCSE language arts papers? Thank you, Ms. Moss. There are 4 papers. Yes, Ms. Ferguson. The extended paper contains directed writing questions. All right, I don't see anyone typing, so all right. So you do know something about the papers, all right? And you are correct. There are 4 papers. Paper 1 is your continuous writing with 40%. And disclaimer here, this is my paper. This is my favorite paper. No bias. This paper is a paper that is the anchor for whether or not you pass the exam. Being able to write that essay. You're juggling all of those different parts together in order to create a piece, all right? Next, you have the oral comprehension, that's the listening comprehension for 15%. Paper 3, you have the written comprehension and directed writing, which is worth 35%. And paper 4 is the extended comprehension and directed writing. So we do see the directed writing in paper 4 and in paper 3. And we're going to go into more details of each paper as we continue our series of lessons. So this is our ELA math question. All right, so the answer is a letter. The answer is a letter. So I want you to put in the chat, or if you would like to, you can open your mics. I really like to hear voices. And hopefully I can get some of you to volunteer to read. What does this ELA math mean?
Does the number refer to the letters placement in the alphabet?
Not in the alphabet, just in regards to BGCSE language. 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals, whereas 1 plus 4 equals.
I'm wondering if the 1 plus 2 plus 3 refers to paper 1, 2, and 3 getting you no higher than a C?
So your answer is 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals what?
C?
And you are correct. So now this makes it a little easier for that 1 plus 4. So what does that 1 plus 4 equal?
A?
A. Okay, Miss Moss, I don't know if I'm going to find you, but I'm going to have to get you a prize to you. All right, so this is how we calculate your grades. All right, the core is paper 1, 2, and 3. Your essay, your listening comprehension, and your reading comprehension. The highest you can get is a C. Now, we have the extended, which is paper 1 plus paper 4, which is how you get your A. All right, and that one common numerator is what? What's on one common numerator? Savano Balfour, I haven't heard you speak as yet. Are you a young lady or a young man? I don't know if I say Mr. or Miss.
Young man.
Okay, young man. All right. So can you tell us what is and welcome to Vano. I didn't welcome you the way that I welcome the other ladies. What is our common numeral, our common number in getting a C or getting an A?
This paper 1.
Paper 1, boom, that's it. As I said, not biased, but that paper is the center of the BGCSE universe. All right, and we're going to go into the details to that in that paper during the course of these 6 weeks. Now, what I wanted to find for you is the term assessment. And what I would like to see you do, you can put it in the chat or you can open up your mic and tell me what you think of when you think of assessment. What comes to mind? What feelings are brought about in your body when you think of or see the word assessment? What comes to mind and what feelings does it evoke?
When I think of assessment, I think of a test of skills or knowledge.
Thank you very much. A test of skills or knowledge. Mr. Balfour says duty comes to mind. Ms. Ferguson, the term assessment refers to a set which evaluates your skills and abilities, and it evokes a feeling of anxiousness. And Ms. Ferguson, thank you so much, the three of you, for sharing. And yes, assessment is determining whether your objective has been met. Okay, that's what assessment is. Determining whether the objective has been met. So our objective, as we've been teaching you from primary school to now, is to get you to be better based on the first slide that I showed you with the requirements of BGCSE, better readers, writers, communicators. And when you are assessing, it is directly related to the objectives of the course of study. So when I'm assessing you, even though I put a mark question there, if I have that as it was inside a language arts examination, the exam is not valid. All right, so it's only based on what we have taught you. And I want you to please note that you don't see anywhere there saying assessment determines if you're smart or if you're dumb. Assessment determining whether you're successful or unsuccessful. You don't see assessment determining whether you're going to be a positive individual or a negative individual. All right, assessment is just looking at to which degree You have met the standards based on what we have been teaching. So I want to tell you all students, make sure you don't tie up your identities, tie up yourself in this assessment. The assessment is a reflection of what you are able to do based on what you have learned in one moment in time. The paper 1, an hour and 10 minutes. The paper 2, 2 hours. The paper 3, 2 hours. The paper 4, 2 hours and 30 minutes, I think it is now. It's showing your ability in that moment in time. And I want to take that anxiety, that pressure off, and telling you that you are not that assessment. You're still going to be a Leah. You're still going to be Devano. You're still going to be unique. And hopefully releasing you of that burden of thinking, this means I am smart versus this means I'm dumb versus this means I'm successful. This means that I am a failure. All right. So that is what assessment is and what assessment is not. And I feel that knowledge is power. So I like to begin my sessions when I start working with students with explaining the different levels of questioning and what is required for those levels of questioning. And when you know this information that's usually taught to teachers, it's going to help you as you're writing your exam. It's going to help you even in other subject areas. When you know the different levels of questions, how to attack them, what skills are being asked, okay? So I appreciate you indulging me in this portion of my presentation, this portion of my lesson. So we have a list of different levels of questioning. We have remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. And this pyramid at the bottom, remembering is just when you're recognizing and you're just recalling facts. The reason this is the biggest is because this is the easiest. All right, this is the least complex of the levels that doesn't require as much brain power to understand. Everything is directly in front of you. The next level is the understanding. This is when you are able to comprehend now what those facts mean, what those facts may imply. Above that, the application. This is where you take these facts, these concepts, these ideas, these rules, and you use them in order to answer certain questions. So we may have been remembering, you're remembering what is an adjective. And understanding when you're asked in your BGCSE paper, which adjective does the writer use that makes you feel gloomy or shows his gloomy mood? All right. Then that application, that's understanding. Then the application, when you're able to apply that knowledge of adjectives. Okay, you apply that knowledge of adjectives in order to label these character traits. And you see with that simple topic of adjectives from, as I said, all these skills are the skills in grade 1, and you build on it the complexity and build on it the complexity and build on the complexity. Next, we have the analyzing. This is when you break down information in different parts and you figure out how these parts go together. You figure out how they are used. Then we have our evaluating. This is when you are judging the information. This is where we get, I see you all are paper 4, preparing for paper 4. This is where we have our techniques. You evaluate. All right, this technique is used. It is effective. It is not effective because of whatever reason. And at the very top, where it requires the most brain power, I don't know if you ever, you can put yes or no in the chat or thumbs up or thumbs down. If you ever felt exhausted after a language exam, if you ever felt tired after writing an essay or completing any paper 3 practice, have you ever felt like physically tired? You can put a thumbs up if yes, or thumbs down or no, or you can put it inside the chat. Okay, Mr. Butler says yes, he has experienced it. And there's a reason for that. It is exhausting. You are using your brain power for these higher order thinking skills where you have to create something. where you take whatever topic they give you on the essay and you make something out of it. It is exhausting, it's taxing, and that's a part of the reason, I'm certain, like, don't quote me, why language arts, when you look at your timetable, you see that language arts is for 9 a.m. in the morning or 4 of the papers. It's a very taxing paper. It needs to be the first thing that you do when you come, because it's exhausting and we don't want you to lose that steam. All right, so going quickly through. So remembering, looking at facts, retrieving your definitions, your lists, looking at what was previous but it's directly in the passage. Some possible questions. Can I get would someone like to assist me with the reading of the questions, the reading of some of these, so everyone doesn't just keep hearing my voice droning on?
I can.
Okay, it didn't pop up to say who answered. Who was that, please?
Aaliyah Ferguson.
All right, thank you, Miss Ferguson. What school do you attend, if you don't mind me? If you don't mind me asking.
South Andrews High School.
Okay, wow, all the way from Andres. All right, Miss Ferguson, can you read some sample questions from remembering?
Who are the main characters in the story? List 3 examples of safety measures used on the trip. What is the definition of a metaphor?
Okay, so these are answers you'll be able to get directly from the text. All right, no real intense thinking required. Next, you have your understanding. This is where you interpret. You translate from one thing to the other. You're using your own words. You're organizing your facts and your ideas. All right, Ms. Ferguson, can you read these sample questions, please?
State the main idea of the passage in your own words. Explain the author's purpose in writing this article. Describe the relationship between the protagonist and antagonist.
Thank you so much. Then applying, as I said, problem solving, you're using your rules, your facts, in order to get to your conclusion. Can you read the samples, please, Ms. Ferguson?
Use evidence from the text to support your analysis of the character's traits. Utilize literary devices such as imagery and symbolism to enhance your own writing. Employ rhetoric strategies for effective when presenting your argument.
That's read effective communication. All right, I'm going to go back and change that. Okay. Communication. All right, now analyzing, you're looking at the motives, the structure, like component parts, you're differentiating, organizing, you're distinguishing. All right, Ms. Ferguson, you're up again.
Compare and contrast the 2 locations. Analyze the author's use of foreshadowing to build tension in the story. Examine the tone of the passage and discuss its effect on the reader.
Thank you. Now we have evaluating. This is where you make value decisions. You look at differences of opinions, you develop the opinions, you make judgments, and the evaluation comes before creating, as it's necessary for you to be able to evaluate what you see before you're able to create or comment on it. Sample questions, Ms. Ferguson.
Assess the reliability of the sources used in the text. What techniques does Dame Doris Johnson use to enhance her argument? What methods does the writer use to engage the reader?
Thank you. And the last part is that creating. When you're putting everything together to create a whole, you're organizing elements through planning, you're producing. This is the most difficult mental function. And when you're creating now, this is where you take everything that you have learned, what you know about spelling these words, what you know about writing sentences, what you know about writing paragraphs, what you know about transitional words, what you know about each word and their synonyms to choose the best word. You're putting everything you know together in order to create. All right, Ms. Ferguson, is the last of it.
Write a narrative that incorporates elements of magical realism. Write an essay.
Thank you very much. Or you would also get your directed writing questionnaire as well. Where it'd say write an essay, an article, a speech based on whatever's in the passage, imagining that you are a member of parliament or something like that. All right, so those are types of questions, which leads us into strategies to answer comprehension questions. I know next week is the listening comprehension exam that we are all eagerly awaiting. And we have one more lesson before then. And this is why I'm starting off with reading comprehension. I usually like to start off with the essay because essays are awesome. Paper one is the basis of the exam, those strategies, the ability to write helps you with answering your comprehension questions. But I want to start with the reading comprehension so that you feel a bit more prepared when the exam comes next week. So the comprehension for reading and the comprehension for listening are the same skills. All right, the same skills that are being tested on both papers. The difference would be, of course, with the paper two, the listening, you have to listen to the passage, you take notes, so there are a few extra steps there that we'll cover next week. So I'm going to go over the way to answer comprehension questions, and this can apply to your paper 2, 3, and 4. All right, analyze the question, and also with paper 1, you need to analyze the question as well. All right, we're going to talk about paper 1 by himself, as it is deserving of its own presentation. All right, you've analyzed the question. This is when you go with your highlighter or your pen and you look for those words in that question that show you what you need to do. You take note of anything that is emphasized, everything in italics, bold, capitalized, underlined. Take note of those things. That means when we're looking at our mark scheme, we're looking for those items that are emphasized. They're not emphasized for the sake of it. Okay, they're emphasized so that you know this is what the examiner is looking for. Yes, you may be doing well in school, you're getting all A's during the term, and as I said, the exam is one moment in time, and that moment in time, you come with your plan. When you come with a plan, that gets you more relaxed, that releases that anxiety, you feel ready. All right, so you know as soon as you go into that examination, when you go into that paper 3, that paper 4, you're going to go directly to those questions. Those questions are going to guide you into passing this exam. All right, so once you read all these questions, you look at the relevant words in the question, you take note of the emphasis, capitalized and underlined words. You take your time to do that first. You already know what the passage is about before you even read it, okay? After you read all these questions about Cat Island and products and things that are produced there, before you even go to the passage, you already have a jump start on yourself because you already know what the passage will be about. So after you analyze the question, next, of course, you read the passage. The first reading, you're looking at the main ideas. You're looking at how you're looking at those answers that may be there based on the questions that you read. That's the first reading. Now you're encouraged to read 2 to 3 times. But as I told you, everything is a time limit. Paper 3, 2 hours. Paper 4, 2.5 hours. Paper 2, the listening, an hour and 10 minutes. So when you're reading the second to third time, you're making sure you're highlighting details that are relevant. You're looking for what is relevant to the question. And as you're going, you're labeling the items you highlight. I'm going to show you this in the session after this one. All right? You're labeling items, you highlight them, and you highlight it. And this gets you organized. When you are organized, you feel that calm and you're able to remember everything that you've learned. And I say too, your second or third reading, because being realistic, you may not get to do a full 3 readings when you are writing this 2-hour exam, okay? So that's why it's important as you're going through, you're highlighting details relevant to the questions. And my number one tip, what are my number one tips for comprehension is to always answer the biggest, the big boy question, the question with the most points first. You start off that paper 3 and paper 4, you know, that directed writing, it will be there. All right, that's where you write your essay response. And once you start off answering that question first, which will take about 45 minutes of your time, by the time as you are ready to answer all of the other smaller questions, your 10-point summaries, your maybe 2 or 3 point short answers, your vocabulary, your multiple choice, you already know the passage because you had to tear it apart completely to answer that last question. All right, so that's my major tip. And you're going to have me say it again and again and again and again and again as we go throughout these sessions. Start with that question first. And if you notice that time is slipping away, okay, the time is slipping away on the multiple choice, which is only worth 1 point. You don't want to start off with the multiple choice. And then when you see time is slipping away, you have, boom, this 16-point essay question that you did not even touch yet. All right, so if nothing else, please remember that tip when you're getting ready for your exam. All right, so this is an example here of highlighting. The third thing you do, not the first thing, the third thing you do is you write your response. You write your answer. You're answering in complete sentences. And I want you to know with BGCSE, it's different from the BJC. In the BJC, you write in that text booklet. In the BGCSE, you do not. They give you the text booklet and they give you an additional booklet that has lined papers. You write everything in that additional booklet. You don't even circle those multiple choice in the test booklet because we do not see those. The only thing we see are those folder sheet booklets. So you just simply write 1A, 2B, 3C, 4D. You do not write the questions, you just write the answers. So for the multiple choice, you just write the number and the letter. For your short answers, you'll write the same thing, the number and your sentence answering the question, your summary, I'll go through and write the summary, your directed writing essay, the same thing. You're answering in complete sentences. You're answering everything in that folder sheet booklet. Use your own words. Please do not quote verbatim from the passage, unless you are told to do so, unless the question says to quote. The examiners already know what the passage says. We want to know that you understand it, and we get that from that using your own words. So I want you to pop in the chat and put what is that primary level skill with using your own words that we have built upon in order to be at secondary level. What primary level skill is that? Using your own words. You can open your mic or put it in the chat.
It's summarizing.
Summarizing. Anything else? Summarizing still is a bit higher level. Let's look at grade 1. What is a grade 1 strategy? That requires using your own words. You have one word, and now you have to find another one for it. What is that? Checking in the chat.
Paraphrasing.
Paraphrase. You all are still at grade 12 level, grade 1. You remember S and A? Your teacher writes a word, you find one word that's the same, one word that's opposite. Do you remember that?
Synonym and antonyms?
The synonyms and antonyms. All right. So those same grade 1 skills we built on it to now where you big timers with your paraphrasing and your summarizing, not even realizing that you already internalized that skill. Okay, so when you're writing using your own words, You're remembering your grade 1 teacher saying, no, don't use the same word here. Let's use a synonym here. Maybe try an antonym here to see which one fits based on the question. Use your question analysis to structure your response. So the question says, like one of the examples, what is a metaphor? Based on a passage, what is a metaphor? Then you would answer, a metaphor is. Okay, we're keeping it simple. I like the acronym KISS. Keep it simple, students. We're keeping it simple, walking our way to our simple A. All right, we're not overthinking it. We are using our strategy, so we come in with a plan. So in our plan, we already read the questions first. We analyze those questions to make sure we understand what is required. Then we read the passage. As we're reading the passage, we're highlighting relevant details, indicating which question the detail is for. The third part, we're writing the answer. After you write the answer, step 4 is you check. All right, your answers should be structured as a direct response to the question. As a direct response to the question. So if you're answering a question, you realize, hold on, this is not what the question says. That means you have to go back and look at it again. And please do not get into the habit, if you're in the habit, break it now, of rewriting anything. Okay, now you cross out everything and just write it over again. That is time wasted, and time is not our friend. You just need, there's no liquid paper allowed. You neatly draw your line through and you write what you want it to be. If it's going to be too messy, the booklet is thick. Open it up, write the question number, and the examiner will find that question, okay? Don't scorch over, don't completely write everything over, especially with those essays, all right? Just be nice and neat and crossing out what you do not want the examiner to mark. Be selective in what you write about. Make sure it relates to the question. And please do not bring any information in that's not in the passage. In paper 4, that's a different story. We'll talk about paper 4 later, but even then, make sure whatever you write is based in the passage. Yes, you may know a lot about sailboats. You may know a lot about how to build an engine, but that is not relevant. You have to, we're not testing your knowledge. Remember, we said assessment is based on the skills that were tested. So we're not testing your knowledge of prom, what happens at prom. We're testing your ability to look at this passage and analyze these questions and answer these questions in a coherent fashion. So now we have our little passage. And what's the first thing that we do? We have our booklet now. This is our booklet, our big sunny booklet. So you can open your mic and you can tell me what's the first thing you do. Now this is your booklet. The first thing you do is what? What's the first thing you do?
Analyze the question.
Analyze the question. And tell me, please, if I'm going too fast, if there's some notes you're taking, and then I'm switching too fast, tell me and I will slow down, okay? Sometimes get into that habit of going a little too quickly, all right? So just you send a message in the chat and I will adjust. All right, so we're analyzing our questions. So these are our, let's just label like this. Okay, PowerPoint, you just, right here, so I've been doing what I already got. Okay, so we're gonna analyze our question. All right, not Miss Ferguson, let me see. Oh, get back. All right, Miss Moss, can you analyze the first question, please? What are we highlighting in this first question?
And the first question is asking for the setting in the passage.
So what are we highlighting? This is our little highlight. This is our highlighter here. So what are we going to highlight?
We're highlighting the word where.
Hey, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. No, no other ones either. Okay, we'll just keep the color there, I guess. Are we highlighting where? Excellent. And how many points is it worth?
It's worth 1 point.
1 point. And I advise you when you're analyzing your questions, you look at the points as well, because that guides your response. You don't want to spend a lot of time on any 1 point questions. So you see it's worth 1 point, you're looking for one thing, and then you're moving on. Okay, Mr. Balfour, can you analyze question 2 for us, please?
Highlighting.
In question 2, word. And what else is this question asking? This question is asking us about, so how many words do you need, Mr. Balfour?
I assume one word?
1 word. Good. So we know it's 1 word. And what other information do they give us about this word?
They give us which paragraph we could look for.
That paragraph. Excellent. And are we looking for a word in paragraph? And what's the other key word there? So we're looking for a word in paragraph 1.
Vote.
Vote. And it takes time. But we take our time in the beginning, meaning that we'll be more organized and have much more time at the end. Okay, back to you, Miss Moss. Can you analyze? Sorry, and how many points is it worth, Mr. Balfour?
1 point.
1 point. So you're looking for 1 word, 1 point. Okay, back to you, Miss Moss. Can you take question number 3, please?
For question number 3, we're focusing on the word describe.
And what are we describing?
We're describing the setting. We're describing where the passage takes place.
Excellent. And how many points is it worth?
2 points.
2 points. So there are 2 parts. There are 2 elements of setting that the examiner is looking for. Okay, now back to Mr. Balfour, number 4, and get ready for number 5, Ms. Ferguson.
All right. All right. Contrast.
Contrast. Yes, very important question word.
Mood.
Are you able to see that mood is in bold? Are you able to see that on your side?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And boat.
Are you contrasting the mood on vote, and what else?
Small O.
Okay, and please note these questions are based on, again, making the grade passage that I had taken from there. All right, so when you're contrasting, what is contrast mean? We're going to go into a lesson on it, but just to perk your memories, what does it mean to contrast?
To tell the difference.
Anyone? To tell the differences. Good. Tell the differences. So you're telling the differences between the boat and Small Hope in regard to the mood. And it is worth 4 points. So anyone tell me how you're going to get those 4 points? We have it worth 4 points here. How are you going to get those 4 points?
1 point would be given for the mood on the boat and the explanation for it. And that's 2 points there. And then the other 2 points will be the mood on Small Hope and the explanation for it.
Excellent. So you see the 4 points mean that you have to have 4 things there. And as you said, you have to label the mood and you have to give that support to show that's what the mood is for the boat and for small hope. Okay, Miss Ferguson, number 5 is all yours.
I would highlight the word imagine, travel agent, brochure, and attract.
And what type of question would this be, Miss Ferguson?
Would this be a directive writing question?
It would be the directed writing question. This is a big boy question that requires an essay response. And of course, your 10 points. And okay, so based on the advice that I gave you now, so we already read through the questions. That's the first thing we do. And now when we're answering the questions, where do we start? Anyone can answer. Mr. Balfour, Ms. Moss, Ms. Ferguson, where do we start when it's time to answer?
With our directive writing question.
With our directed writing question. Excellent job. Then the next, after we look at our questions, then we read about our trip to Andros. Ms. Moss, would you like to read about this trip to Andros?
Sure.
Thank you.
Is the first sentence correct, either?
I thought, let me go back. Thank you, Ms. Moss. Our little T just ran away. Okay.
I thought a boat ride from the mainland to Small Hope would be a lovely idea. When the crewman hoisted the sloop's sails, the canvas filled with a luxurious breeze. We could see the white, unmarred beach as we lay in the golden sunset. There was a ragged wharf where the crew stayed long enough to unload when the small boat sailed away. The boat ride was peaceful with few waves, with the sun smiling warmly at us. Unfortunately, there was nowhere to stay in Small Hope. The weather got angry as Mother Nature pelted us with fat raindrops. We had to walk the 14 miles back to the mainland in shark-infested water. This trip to Andros will be one we will never forget.
Thank you so much. Okay, so now that we read it, then we would go back to our questions. All right, and which question are we starting with again, ladies and gentlemen?
Number 5.
If we're starting with number 5, so we're looking for points to tell us, as we highlighted, imagine your travel agent, you're looking to write a brochure to attract tourists. So what we're looking for here are points that we can put in that brochure to attract those tourists. So you can open up your mic or you can put in the chat, what points are we highlighting in the paragraphs to attract tourists?
We could highlight boat ride.
Which line?
Line number 1. We could highlight unmarred beaches. That's line 3 and 4. Unmarred beach.
Okay, Miss Ferguson, you've done your part. You're retired for right now. Excellent in your inferencing and your analyzing. Ms. Moss, Mr. Balfour, what else would you put in this pamphlet, in this advertisement?
Devano mentioned in the chat luxurious breezes.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Devano. Okay, and what else?
I would mention the few waves and the sunshine, the golden sunset, which is in the same line as white unmarked beach, and the sun, the warm sun, which is described at the end of the first paragraph, and along with the peaceful waves.
Okay, so we have the waves and we have the sun. All right, so tell me why we wouldn't highlight sun again. Waves again. What wave is too close to which part? We have some things we have highlighted: boat ride, luxurious breeze, beach, and golden sunset.
Probably because of the boat ride.
It's right. It's connected to the boat ride. It's connected to the beach, and we want something completely separate. And I tell my students, like it when you get it right. I love it when you get it wrong, because when we get it wrong, that's when we learn. That's when we get that opportunity to put that new information there. When you go on the exam, you're a bit more cautious. All right. And in that last paragraph, Miss Moss, do you see the last item that could that we could put in our tourist brochure?
I would add the shark-infested waters.
Right. Some people like to swim with the sharks. Excellent job. So we go through that. After we went through that last question, then we would use it in order to write our directed writing response. Question. And we would move backward from there, looking at the mood on the boat compared to the mood in Small Hope. That wouldn't be answered in this because the passage is too short. Let's go to looking at the setting. All right, anyone can answer. So we're looking at the setting. What would you say, or how would you answer that question? Describe the setting. Okay, let me check the chat. I see the chat is lit up. Okay. What are some things you'd use? How would you describe the setting?
I would describe the setting as probably an experience in Andros or Andros itself. I'm not really sure how I would describe it, or would it be an
What can you tell me about the setting? What can you tell me about the setting, the location where the action is taking place?
It has
What can you tell me about
the breeze?
And remember using our own words. So tell me about that. Tell me that in your own words using your synonyms.
The wind.
Okay, we have the wind. And what else is there in your setting?
Pristine beaches.
Pristine beaches, and I like that. And I'd like to note that some words you cannot change. There is no synonym to say, instead of saying beach. Okay. And
a sunny day.
Let's go. Sunny weather, excellent. Okay, Miss Ferguson, you're back in retirement. So which word in paragraph 1 means boat? That's Miss Moss or Mr. Balfour. Which word in paragraph 1 means boat?
Sloop.
Sloop, excellent. So you'd write the word sloop in paragraph 1 means boat. And Mr. Balfour, where does the passage take place? So we leave off at our easiest one.
On the beach.
Where specifically? A beach where? Where's the location? Sorry, let me go back to the passage. Where specifically is this passage taking place? Where in the world are they?
Smaller
Which
question.
islands are? Pardon me? So what
Just the
island are
mainland, the
they on?
smaller. Oh,
They're
Andres,
in mainland.
Andres.
Andres. And you will get the point also if you say smaller because they were in the mainlands of Andres as well as Small Hope. All right, give yourselves a tap on the back. What was the key concept for this part of the lesson? You can put it, I want you to put it in the chat for me, please. What was the key concept for this part of the lesson? Me too. Somebody's a there. Oh, you can. Thank you, Miss Moss. Thank you, Mr. Balfour. But I just able to smile again. I didn't go. Pay attention and read over the passage carefully. Thank you very much, Mr. Butler. Okay, you understand how to analyze questions. How to analyze and fully answer questions. Okay, great. All right, so the first topic we're going to look at is inferences. All right, this topic is covered straight across the comprehension exams. Paper 2, the listening, paper 3, reading, paper 4, extended. All right, so inferencing is also, as with all of our language arts skills, it also has real world applications. Okay, when you infer, like you said, you're looking at what is presented to you and you're drawing your conclusions. So we're going to start off with our objectives. I want you to be able to define infer, explain what it means to infer, make inferences, and see how you get and explain how those clues led to that inference. So with these inferencing questions, these higher level questions, there are different aspects of them. You may have to infer certain details. And when you go into your exams, you may be asked to infer character traits, maybe infer emotions, things that are not directly stated in the text. And when you do so, you are like a lawyer, all right? You make your point and you have to support it. You can't just say my client is innocent because I say so. You have to say my client is innocent due to the fact that there's a camera recording on his he was recording on his live at 10:30 when the robbery was taking place. You have to give specific examples, okay? And that's where a lot of our students lose their points, where they state what the inference is, but they do not support, explain how they got there. All right, so introduction, I'm going to take you all down very, very, very far in the past, okay? The question is, can you name these songs based on the emoji? So this game is a quick typing game where you would put your answer in the chat. Okay, excellent. I've got responses from everyone. To see what you see in Fern's eyes, and hopefully by the end of the lesson, we'll all be on the same page. Okay, so in the chat, I want you to look at these. All right, so in the chat, what song is this? I see fast fingers. Okay, Miss Moss, you were the first to, let's see if other people think that's the answer as well. All right, Miss Moss, you got it right. That's 10 points to you. That's 10 points to you. Tap your shoulder. You see them. Now, Miss Moss, you have to give me a okay, sing it again. Stop. Okay. No, don't start again. All right. Miss Moss, So now that you have your answer, now that you have Miss Ferguson, can you give me the support, how you got to that conclusion?
Firstly, well, first, the second emoji is obviously a monkey. So I was pretty confident that the second word in the song was definitely monkey. The first emoji, the guy seems to me to be dancing. He's doing a pretty common dance move. So I assume that the first word was dance.
Thank you very much. Excellent putting ideas together. Second one has 3 emojis here. Okay, how do you know all these old songs, Miss Moss? It is indeed Old Town Road. And how did you get to that conclusion?
Yeah, I'm gonna take my horse to
So
the
the
old town
first
road.
emoji is an older person. So um I didn't think the first word in the song would be old guy, so I moved on to the other emojis and just kept the word old in my head. The second emoji are 2 houses. There are a lot of things you can infer from seeing 2 houses next to each other. So I moved on to the third emoji, and that's obviously a road. So I put old and road together, and knowing what I know about songs, I assumed that the second emoji was a town.
Thank you very much. And this is our last one now. All right, Miss Moss, put your fingers down. This is the harder one. We'll see if Mr. Balfour, his fingers are ready. Miss Ferguson had participated in one. All right, last one. All right, Miss Ferguson. All right. Let me see if the song is gonna play. My Bohemian song. Do you all remember these old parties back in the day? Adana? Yes, Miss Ferguson, that's Bone Pineapple. Okay. And tell me how you got there, Miss Ferguson. Come on, stop. How did you get there? How did you get there, Miss Ferguson? You could type it or you could open your mic.
I just saw the emoji that kind of shows like boom, because that's what I use it for. And then I see the pineapple fruit, and I combine those words and boom pineapple. Mind you, I didn't even know
Thank
what
you.
the song was at first.
Okay, do you all know the song? I'm going to put that inside the chat for you all to get. In the olden days, you couldn't have a Bohemian party in the backyard if they were playing Bone Pineapple Wine. That was before your time. Hopefully I exposed you to something new now. You'll look for that song. Excellent job. So what you were doing is you were inferring, okay? You were not just guessing. You didn't just say the first song is what is water or whatever, the water song. You didn't throw any answers out there. You deduced, you concluded, you looked at evidence, you looked at reasoning instead of just being told. You were not doing any random guessing. And that's what inferences are. Deducing, concluding based on evidence, based on reasoning. And a simple inference formula we have here is our prior knowledge plus what's in the text equals our inferences. And everyone has prior knowledge. There are things that we know about based on our experiences, and we look at what's inside the text. For example, Miss Ferguson in her experience, she uses that emoji to mean boom. So she put that toward the text clues. Okay, this is that boom emoji, and there's a pineapple here. And then she drew her inference with Miss Moss. She looked at, okay, that's an old man, and she couldn't think of a song with old man, so she said, okay, let me put that down. Okay, I see there's a road here. There are two houses. Maybe that's I can connect that. Okay, maybe the portion this is old, this portion is town, this portion is road, and this is how we make inferences, and we make inferences every day. All right, and I would encourage you, as I said, these skills are lifelong skills. So use the same strategy when you're making inferences. Don't jump to conclusions. You look at the clues that are present to you. You use your prior knowledge, and then you make your inference. So when we have our passages, we have two persons that are in that passage, in that paper 3. We have our authors, we have our author, and we have our reader. All right, it's you, the reader. It is the author who's written the text that you are reading. So what the author does is they imply, and as a reader, you infer. They give some information, and you have to put the puzzle pieces together to make that inference. And when you are a good reader, you're looking for clues to help you to understand text better. And I'd like to stop here, and I want you to note when I created this presentation and all my other presentations, it is toward the medium level, okay? I didn't create it to be too high, where it'd be too much information, maybe intimidating, or too low, where those who are A or B candidates would feel like it's too simple, okay? So it's right in the happy medium, and that spot there, okay? So some things maybe you may see as a bit simple than you would usually be accustomed to, especially in the class here where every one of you is doing paper 4. And I just want you to be encouraged that even if it's a bit simple, that these skills are the same skills that you've been practicing, and just move on with me and practice with me, and we'll have a good time with our inference lesson. Okay, so our first activity is you're going to tell me where I am. All right, so this is why in this first activity, you're going to tell me where I am, where I'm located. All right, and if you don't mind, can you read this one for me, please, Mr. Balfour?
I see bubbles rising. I hear my own breathing. There are fish swimming above me. I feel the seaweed swaying.
Okay, now we're going to look at our clues. All right, Miss Ferguson. Okay, Miss Moss, Mr. Balfour, we're going to look at our clues. And you can open your mic or you can put it in the chat.
Underwater.
Tell where I give me your reasoning for saying underwater. Give me that support, lawyer. Give me that support.
It says, I see bubbles rising and I hear my own breathing. And when you breathe underwater, you see bubbles rising as a result of oxygen being released. And you can hear yourself breathing because probably of the water and stuff like that. And then the only place you can find fish swimming is in the ocean freely, and seaweed would be found at the bottom of the ocean or sea.
How do you know the fish are swimming freely?
It says it's swimming above me.
Oh, excellent, excellent, excellent. Now, can you infer what I am doing? What am I doing? Where I am in the ocean. What am I doing? What activity am I doing in the ocean?
Diving.
What was that, Mr. Balfour?
Scuba diving.
Scuba diving. So how do you know that's scuba diving versus swimming? Show me that. Show me that evidence. Let me see it, Mr. Lawyer. That evidence, please.
I mean, so I am my own breathing, so I know, and you have your oxygen mask on the tank. Yes, normally have it.
Okay. And you both are correct. He is a scuba diver diving in the sea. Okay, our next one. Can you read it for me, please, Miss Ferguson? Then Ms. Moss, you'll be my next reader. Okay, Ms. Marks, read this for me, please. Oh, I hope I didn't get knocked off. Okay, no, I didn't. Okay, I'll read it. I hear screaming. My stomach feels unsettled. Can you see my hair blowing? I'm feeling excited. You can open your mic. I'll put it in the chat. All right, thank you, Mr. Balfour.
Maybe a carnival ride.
A carnival, tell me, give me the clues, lawyer. Show me the clues that show you carnival.
First, it says, I hear screaming, in which people normally scream on carnival rides. My stomach feels unsettled, in which the ride probably is moving at a fast pace. And it says, you can see my hair blowing, and I'm feeling excited. Hair blowing through the wind as the carnival moves, and the feeling of excitement as it is a source of entertainment. Is it just me, or did the teacher kind of just leave the room?
I think this our own class now. Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. My internet just dropped. So I put on the data on my phone. I'm not now going to share that. So with my laptop. So just bear with me for a moment, please.
That's fine.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank Let me share. Screen, sound. Okay, and let's get back to our Okay, so I think you were explaining to us how you know that this is at a carnival.
Yes, ma'am. Would you like me to explain it again?
Yes, please. You got cut off straight in the middle, and I missed your beautiful response.
Okay, I said, firstly, the word screaming can refer to the many individuals that may scream on the carnival ride. It says, my stomach feels unsettled, in which can result from the speed of the ride. It says, you can see my hair blowing, which can also result as the speed of the ride as they go, in motion. And it says, I'm feeling excited as the carnival ride is a source of entertainment.
Thank you very much. And so you gave us where I am at the carnival, what I'm doing, and this is our answer here on a roller coaster, which is a carnival ride. Excellent job. And we get our conclusion, and as you all eloquently did so, you gave that support based on the passage. Okay, even though you went to the carnival, you didn't give any unnecessary details about cotton candy, green apples, or the people trying to steal your money or being too expensive. Everything is based on what is in the text. All right. Now we're going to go to our second activity. Who am I? Let's see, the first person to put it in the chat based on our clues. I sleep in a crib. Pardon me?
I think it's only me and her.
What? Okay, I guess everyone had that. I don't know if it's a New Providence, why I think. So I sleep in a crib. So what is your response? Sleep in a crib.
That person is a baby.
So only babies sleep in cribs? Think of white people. Think of white people. What else could be in a crib? Maybe an animal. So you consider a crib. So let's look at some more clues. I drink from a bottle. Are you still on baby or animal?
Yes.
Okay.
Baby.
And baby, the same with animals. May have a baby, an animal in the crib, an animal drinking from a bottle. I cannot walk or talk. Are you still at the same spot?
Yes, ma'am. Animal or baby?
All right, now let's.
Baby or baby, because the animal could walk, depending on its severity of if it's hurt or something.
Okay, and you are right. It is a baby. Press admit. It is a baby, and we saw that clue. I know babies sleep in cribs. Good day, welcome, Ms. Adley. Based on what you know, babies drink bottles, and babies can't do these things yet. And as you said, if it was an animal, the animal more than likely would be able to
walk.
At least walk. All right, so the last one of our Ms. Adley, what I was explaining before I got into this part is that the presentation is for that happy medium. So if it's too, so it's not too high, not too low, so that everyone's able to get some information from it. So we're looking at our inference questions, and we're on our activity where we are asking the question, who am I, and inferring based on the clues that are being given. All right. And when you tell me, I ask you to give me support. You're gonna tell me specifically. Ms. Ferguson, Ms. Addy, tell me specifically how you got to this conclusion. It might be Island right, so that's Long Island, and Andrews are here, but no, New Providence just got kicked right off. Okay, so who am I? Growing on the air. cooking me in hot oil. When heated, I puff up. It tastes delicious. Some people microwave me. Who am I?
I think this is popcorn.
All right, so what are the keywords that helped you to get there?
Okay, first it states I grew. Although it's confusing how it says on the air, because I started thinking about something physical, something else. But it says I grew, and then it says you cook me in hot oil, and then puff up and microwave.
Okay, and corn grows on an air. And like you said, the first one is a bit confusing. You're not sure. That's why it's important to look at every aspect of the passage in order to come to your conclusion. And you are correct. It indeed is popcorn. So we have this passage here. And this is what when we're talking about answering our comprehension questions, let's look at our questions first. Ms. Adi, are you able to unmute your mic?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So our question is, can you tell where the people are? Highlight the clues. Can you read for me, Miss Adley, please?
Can't see it. All I see is out of my way punk. Blurted Ross.
The rest is blocked?
Yeah, I can't see the rest. Hold on, let me I think I know what happened. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay. I'm trying to come out of chat. Okay. Out of my way punk, Blurted Ross. Today is my day to monitor the halls. Answer Daniel. You're supposed to stay in the cafeteria until 12:55. You're not the boss of me, replied Ross. So I'll be staying right here. You got a problem with that?
Okay, and do we see any hints that tell us where the people are?
Yes.
What are those hints that we see?
The halls.
What's another hint that you see? Oh, shoot, sorry.
That's where he's supposed to be.
The halls, the cafeteria. So what conclusion do you draw as to where they are based on the words hall and cafeteria?
In a school.
In a school would have hallways. It would have a cafeteria. And when we look at the context, we see in the context a hall monitor. You wouldn't have that in a hospital building or an office building. And looking at the text, right? What inferences tell us about Ross is a bully? Remember, we're going beyond our remembering to our comprehension, our understanding. So is Ross a bully? True or false?
True.
Support?
Yes.
Support.
Mainly because of his use of words, he said out of my way punk.
That's your support. You're ready for lawyering. Daniel is late for school. All right, this one is you, Miss Tanya.
That's false.
Why?
Today is his day for monitoring the halls, so he's on duty monitoring the halls.
Right, it doesn't tell us anything about what happened in the morning. He's on duty. It's 12:55.
Yeah.
Okay, Ms. Ferguson, Daniel is a bully. True or false?
False.
Why do you say he is not a bully?
Because he uses the words, you're not the boss of me, replying to Ross, who has bullied him.
Look at it again.
I would still say it's his use of words, though.
He isn't a bully, but what does he say? Ross says, out of my way, you're not the boss of me. You got a problem. But what is Daniel saying?
Daniel said today is my day to monitor the halls.
Right, so is that being aggressive? Is that bullying?
No, ma'am. It's being very passive and confirming.
Thank you very much. And the last one, it is lunchtime. Is that true or false?
Yes, it is.
Support.
The 12:55, you're supposed to be in the cafeteria until 12:55. So the fact that they're supposed to be in the cafeteria tells me that it's lunchtime.
Thank you very much. You see the time, 12:55, and the response that they are indeed supposed to be in the cafeteria. Now we have our questions up. We have our 2 questions here. And Miss Adley, you'll take the first one. Miss Ferguson, the second one. Miss Ferguson, I want you to read this one with Miracle. And please note, if I use the name of someone that you know, it's not intentional. It's just random. This is not based on any real persons or events. Okay, Miss Ferguson, can you read, please?
Okay. Miracle, Mom called out as she walked in the front door. Mary, she continued shouting, I sure could use some help with these groceries. There was still no reply. Mom walked into the kitchen to put the grocery bags down on the counter when she noticed shattered glass from the window all over the living room floor and a basketball not far from there. I'm going to spank you, Miracle, Mom yelled to herself as she realized that Miracle's shoes were gone.
Okay, analyzing the question. All right, number 1, Miss Tanya, what happened to the window?
The window was shattered. It got broken.
How?
The basketball. I feel that Miracle was playing with the basketball and it hit the glass, the window, and it shattered the window.
Okay, and just like you were specific there, remember that specificity when you go into the exam. And instead of shattered, we're using our synonyms. Let's use another word for shattered. We're using our
broken.
Broken. Okay, good. And then you went further to say how you know, because you saw the basketball there not far from where it was broken. All right, now, Miss Ferguson, why do you think Miracle, first of all, do you know that Miracle left? Are we told that she left?
Yes. I mean, we have clues that infer that she left.
What's the clues?
Her shoes were not there.
Her shoes were not there. And what else? Mom, I didn't hear you, Ferguson.
No, I was saying the same thing as Miss Adderley.
Okay, so we see the shoes and not there. And what else? When Mom is walking around, what's happening?
She can't find Miracle. Sorry, Miss Ferguson. Sorry.
She can't find Miracle. No answer. Okay, so now Miss Ferguson, tell me why Miracle left.
Miracle probably left in fear of getting reprimanded for what she did, and this is it can be proven because it says before she even realized that Miracle was gone, she says, "I'm going to spank you," showing that she ever had plans to deal with Miracle.
Right. Okay. So we're presuming that Miracle is the one who did what? I want you to be explicit with me.
Throw the basketball.
Right. She's one of no. Exactly. That's how you answer. You got it. She was the one who threw the basketball and broke the window, and therefore she left before she get punished. And we already know, like you said, Mom is a spanking mom. Not all moms are that spanking mom. So she may have inferred herself that when Mom came home, this is what's going to happen. And as we're going, we're highlighting. And this is another trick that I use with my students. All right, so the first one we looked at, our tip was make sure that you answer the last question first when you get those big questions. And the second one is, as you're reading the passage, you highlight relevant information. And as you're highlighting, you label it. Remember, we're not going into this assessment with anxiety, we're going with a plan. And when we follow that plan, we'll be able to do well. Okay, so we would, Miracle's shoes were gone. What happened? So we label that number 1. My number 1 is all the way up there. I don't know why. Why did Miracle leave? When we found the answer while we were reading, we label it number 2. And that would help us when it's time to answer now. You have that big passage, 2.5 pages back to back, and 2.5 pages, 1 page back in front of another half. So once you label it, once you highlight it and label it, it's easier for you to go and find those answers. So that's the second tip. Make sure as you highlight when you're reading the passage, you label it based on the question.